The first beads of Carnival glittered in the gutters of Rampart Street when Julien Duval stepped out of the Iberville boarding house with his trumpet case under his arm. The air smelled of magnolia, cigar smoke, and 1,000 frying skillets. 2 days remained before the Grand Rex parade would ride and the wild music would shut down for Lent. Yet the city was already vibrating like the membrane of a drum. Julien felt that vibration in his bones, and in it he heard the faintest hush of a woman's breath. The sound of his muse, the lady no one else believed in. He had met her voice on a winter midnight 3 years earlier, after stumbling out of the mahogany hall back room, drunk on bathtub gin and grief. He had raised the trumpet to his lips in a lonely alley and tried to coax one more blues line from valves and brass. My alley, my alley. Instead of sour notes, a melody of impossible delicacy floated back through the cup of the hornfar, sweeter than anything he knew how to play. Who's there? He whispered. The only answer was a laugh, soft as a lace glove brushing silk. From that hour forward, the voice came only when the clock's long hand struck 12. She never spoke before, never lingered after. Her words were neither English nor French, yet Julien understood their meaning, the way he understood the changes of a tune. He called her Lune because every encounter began at the edge of the new day, where darkness clung to moonlight. She taught him fragments, a turn here, a slur there, a ghostly blue note sliding between joy and sorrow. Those fragments had carried him from anonymous sideman to first horn with Papa Zoo's Crescent Serenaders, the hottest new band on Basin Street. And still she remained invisible, untouchable. He hurried toward Congo Square, where rehearsal waited. Around him clattered wagons of masked revelers. Feathers fanned the sky, tambourines rattled. Beneath the Mardi Gras laughter ran another rhythm, tick-tock, tick-tock, the city's clocks counting down the hours. At the corner by the Armistice Arch, a boy wearing a paper Sanche moon thrust a handful of violets at Julien. "Give 'em to your sweetheart, mister." Julien slipped him a nickel and tucked the flowers into his lapel. If only a ghost could inhale their perfume. Inside the square, the Crescent Serenaders tuned up beneath a live oak hung with Spanish moss. Papa Zoo, big as a barrel and twice as loud, slapped his music stand. "Duval, you out wandering with spooks again? We got a new chart to cut for the parade." His grin stripped any malice from the words. He trusted Julien's ear, even if he thought the Muse story was a publicity stunt cooked up by the showboat agents. They ran the number a fast rag with a break to showcase Julien's horn, but each time he reached the 8th bar, there was a hole where melody should be. Lune's unfinished phrase. Without it, the tune felt like a sentence with no period. "Need more punch," Papa Zoo muttered. "Something folks will remember after the floats pass." He signaled break. The other musicians drifted off toward coffee stands and dice games, but Julien stayed, fingering silent valves, staring at the turret clock atop the nearby church. 6 minutes past 11 in the morning, 13 hours before Lune might reappear. He closed his eyes. In his mind, he saw her standing on the edge of darkness, gown shimmering like the Gulf at night. He imagined reaching through that veil, bringing her forth so everyone could hear the wonder she whispered. He had tried asking who she was, how she had come to him. Each time, the clock's final chiming stroke ended her presence, snatching away answers. Yet lately, he sensed urgency in her tone, like wind before a storm. That afternoon, the band rode a flatbed through the streets, advertising their midnight show at the Cosmopolitan Club. Julien played dutifully while his mind marched ahead. Midnight tonight would be the second to last moment he could speak with Lune before Mardi Gras ended. She spoke a while that sounded, what if the silence of Lent sealed her off forever? The thought made his chest tighten against the trumpet's mouthpiece. By twilight, he found himself on St. Peter Street in front of Madame Calliope's curiosity shop. Candles glowed behind the dusty window where tarot decks and voodoo dolls jostled for space. Madame Calliope claimed lineage from Marie Laveau, and though most musicians laughed at her, some swore she'd unknotted more than a few cursed chords. Julien ducked inside, hat in hand. The interior smelled of jasmine and beeswax. Calliope herself emerged from behind a bead curtain, tall and ageless, with silver rings on every finger. "Monsieur Duval?" she said, as if expecting him. "The man who courts the sound of a woman no one else can hear." Julien's skin prickled. "Can you help me bring her fully into this world?" Calliope touched a ring set with what looked like river pebbles. Southern music draw hungry spirits. Some spirits are bright, some drink the living like absinthe. You sure which you chase? He thought of the gentle hush, the celestial melodies. She's bright. The seer studied him. A clock binds her, a mortal clock. At midnight your hearts touch. But carnival ends soon. The veil will thicken until next year. She picked up a glass vial of clear liquid. Play the note she gave you as the parade nears Jackson Square tomorrow night. If your feeling is true and hers as well, the note will break the clock's chain. She tucked the vial into his palm. But music alone cannot cheat dawn. When Ash Wednesday bells toll, all masks fall. Choose what you truly wish. How will I know the note? She smiled. You already know it. You just haven't believed it yet. Outside, the night had ripened purple. Julien hurried to the Cosmopolitan. The club was packed, shoulder to shoulder. Sugar-cane workers, high-collared bankers, Creole belles in silk, even soldiers still wearing victory medals from the Great War. The band launched into stumps and stumps again. At 11:30, they began Mississippi Moon, a tune that left space for Julien's improvisation. The crowd quieted, waiting for his high grace note. 11:45, he played the first phrase, letting it float. The pianist laid down soft chords like velvet. 11:55, the snare drum whispered brushes. Julien turned toward the wall clock above the bar. The second hand slid, trembled, completed its circle. Midnight. The hush fell deeper. Somewhere beyond the crowd, a riverboat whistle groaned. Then, inside the bell of his trumpet, her voice blossomed crystalline, infinite. Tonight she spoke not in syllables, but in pure melody, a ribbon of yearning that curled around his heartbeat. He closed his eyes and followed it onto his horn. The note felt like breathing for the first time. People in the room gasped. Several reached for handkerchiefs. He felt Calliope's vial growing warm in his pocket. When the last vibration faded, Lune's presence lingered through one more heartbeat than usual. Julien dared to whisper inside his mind, "Who are you?" The reply rose like moonlight on still water. "I was song before I was silence. The world forgot me, but you call me back. Free me, and I shall walk beside you until the last parade ends. How? Believe. Play the note where everyone can hear. At the height of carnival, when earth and heaven dance closest." Then one lone chime rang 12 times plus one, as though the clock itself stuttered. And she was gone. The audience erupted. Papa Zeus slapped Julien's back. "By God, Duval, you played like Gabrielle calling judgment." But Julien could only think of tomorrow night. That note, he hadn't consciously shaped it. Could he summon it again amid the chaos of wrecks rolling past? He slept little. Dreams spooled with masks, melting into silver rivers. By dawn, he wandered the quarter, trumpet case banging his knee, until he sketched the elusive phrase on staff paper, an ascending minor seventh leaping to a blue third, then resolving not down but up, a reach towards something higher than resolution. He practiced in an alley until sunlight burned away fog. The note refused repetition. Each attempt slid into ordinary sound. Afternoon brought the Zulu parade and coconut throws. Children dashed under hooves. Julien ducked beads and doubloons, mind far from revelry. At dusk, the band assembled on a decorated flat car that would roll just before the wreck's float when darkness fell. Garlands of lanterns looped the car. Battery bulbs spelled serenaders in crackling white. Papa Zoo pumped Julian's hand. We need fireworks tonight, boy. Rex's Duke offered us a month's residency in his new ballroom if we stop folks dead in their tracks. Julian nodded, barely listening. He fingered the vial. The clear liquid shimmered as if holding star fragments. Maybe it was only gin, maybe belief made it more. Crowds thickened along Canal Street, faces masked, unmasked, painted. Drums from distant marching clubs echoed toward them. The indigo skylights played ahead. Behind, Zulu's tail end shook rattles. Julian's band climbed onto the flat car. The conductor called lights. Lanterns flickered on. Julian adjusted his mute, scanning the sky. A nearly full moon peeked out, smeared by wisps of cloud. Its face reminded him of the Papiamá Mache boy and his violets. The parade lurched forward. Brass flared. Bystanders screamed for music. Julian played the chart to perfection, but felt the same vacancy at bar 8. Sweat dripped in his collar despite winter air. He waited for a cue he couldn't hear. 9 o'clock. They reached St. Charles Avenue. Papa Zo closed sets with Congo Jubilee, the usual showstopper. Applause roared, yet Julian sensed disappointment. They'd given nothing new. They had a final chance, Jackson Square at 10:30, where Rex would pause for fireworks. Papa Zo ordered a rest break. Julian slipped off the flat car. He threaded through dancers wearing serpentine capes until he reached the river levee. The Mississippi rolled black-green under gaslight. He uncorked Calliope's vial. The liquid smelled of citrus and ozone. He poured a drop on his tongue. It fizzed like champagne shot through with lightning. To transform as wasted men, your sisters call. The city sound sharpened. He could hear individual bells on mules' harnesses miles away, could taste brass on the breeze. Most of all, he felt Loon, distant but pulling. Midnight would come after the parade ended. No, he needed her before. He raised the trumpet and sent a fragment of her melody across the water, pleading. A shadow within moonlight thickened. Out of the glimmer stepped a woman, or the memory of one, silver dress clinging like mist. Hair piled high in 1890s fashion, eyes luminescent. The levee's gravel showed through her hem, yet her smile was as solid as any living soul's. "Loon," he whispered. "Julian." Her voice no longer disembodied. It vibrated air. "Your faith widens the door, but dawn is hammering behind us." He reached to touch her cheek. His fingers met cool resistance, like glass that could bend but not break. "Play the note," she said. "Call me all the way." She swept a hand toward the parade. Under the roar, under Rex's crown, the city's heart waits. Give it that missing beat. He swallowed. "If you become flesh, what happens when Ash Wednesday comes?" She glanced at the river where torches flickered. The world cannot hold us both without cost. But love asks us to risk every note. Papa Zoo's shout cut the night. "Duval! On the car, now!" Rex's lieutenants were already approaching Jackson Square. Julian grasped Loon's half-salted hand. "I will play it. Meet me there." He ran. The band reclaimed their positions as the float bearing King Rex pulled alongside. Fireworks hissed, casting green and crimson halos over the cathedral. Thousands jammed the square. Papa Zo lifted his baton for the debut of the new rag. The first chorus rolled, horns tight, drums crisp. Julian's solo loomed. The clock in St. Louis Cathedral told 10:30. He took a breath. Bar 1, 2, 3. At bar 8, he closed his eyes, thought of the hush of magnolias, violets in a boy's fist, river mist coalescing into a woman. He blew not the written notes, but the impossible leap Loon had given. The minor seventh shot skyward, the blue third shimmering, the unresolved reach piercing twilight. The trumpet's cry burst over the crowd. Lanterns flickered as if sucked inward toward the sound. Fireworks froze mid-air, suspended sparks. A wind smelling of distant rain whipped up, swirling confetti into a silver vortex. Gasps ran through onlookers, knees buckled. Music from other bands faded like gramophones winding down, and from between two masked flambeau carriers stepped Loon in full radiance, each footfall heavier, truer than the last. Her dress turned from vapor to satin. The crowd parted, transfixed. Some crossed themselves, others cheered, calling her goddess, angel, spirit of Mardi Gras. Papa Zoo nearly swallowed his cigar. She reached the flat car, climbed without help, and stood beside Julian, their eyes locked. A gentle hush fell, so deep you could hear the Mississippi licking pilings. He lifted the horn again, offered her the mouthpiece. She shook her head and, instead, began to sing. No microphone, yet her voice poured clear across rooftops. The same melody he had played, now clothed in words older than the city syllables of the Delta tribes. French lullabies, Negro spirituals, all entwined. Julian wove counterlines around her phrases. Clarinet joined, trombone swooped. The parade regained motion, but now it moved to their music, not the other way around. Hand in hand, they led Rex past Decatur, up Esplanade. Everywhere they passed, lanterns brightened, strangers kissed, wounds ached less. Even the drunks sobered long enough to listen. Mardi Gras had found its missing heartbeat, 11:45. The flat car rolled into the foot of Canal again, where parades disband. The last float halted. The square's electric bulbs dimmed as they always did before city fathers proclaimed the end of revelry. Police on horseback waited to usher crowds home. Church bells tolled once, twice, thrice. Loon's hand tightened in Julian's. Moonlight dusted her skin, yet beneath it he saw pallor, like someone recovering from a fever. Her voice trembled on the high notes. The night leaned toward ending. He leaned close. We won. Stay with me. We'll catch a northbound train. Forget the clocks. She smiled, brushing his cheek. The chain is broken, but dawn still rises. There's time for one last chorus. Papa Zoo, tears in eyes, tapped his baton. Julian lifted the horn. Loon drew breath. Together they launched a slow, sweet blues. No fireworks, just confession. Lovers swayed. Mounted policemen lowered helmets. Canal Street shimmered like a painting half finished, refusing its final stroke. Midnight crept nearer. With each bell strike, Loon's glow faded a little. Julian extended the sustained note, stretching it like taffy across seconds, refusing the cadence. He felt her slipping. First, the fingers interlaced with his, then the warmth. Finally, the resistance that made her flesh. All the while, her eyes held his, fearless. When the cathedral bell tolled the 12th chime, she mouthed a silent thank you, and her form dissolved into a shower of music, falling like dew onto every upturned face. The final sparkle landed on his trumpet's bell, rang once, and melted into brass. Silence, profound and absolute, followed. Then, at the square's far end, someone began to applaud, slow, reverent. Others joined until the entire crowd thundered. Papa Zoe embraced Julian. Never heard nothing like it. You just baptized Mardi Gras. Julian lowered the trumpet, heart hollow and overflowing in the same beat. The city lights brightened. The official announcer declared carnival over. Revelers drifted home. Street sweepers advanced like gray ghosts. He descended the flat car. The boy with the papier-mâché moon appeared, offering the same violets now wilted. Julian accepted them and placed one inside the trumpet's bell. As he did, he heard a whisper, not external, not midnight bound, but living in the metal, the wood, his own breath. I am with you in every note. He brought the mouthpiece to his lips and played a quiet scale. The violet quivered, yet no one else noticed. It was enough. Before heading into the thinning night, he looked west, where the river curved. The moon hung over water like a silver trumpet mute, softening all harsh edges. Ash Wednesday would come, but music had already promised another season, another chance at the edge of midnight, and another dance with the love he had set free. He walked on, horn case swinging, heartbeat keeping time. not with the ticking of clocks, but with a melody that would never again be silent.